Study Session 11. Who are the social caseworkers? Introduction. This lecture deals with different types of social caseworkers. Social caseworkers are in different areas of specialization and their names depict their functions. Therefore, you will know every caseworker by his or her name and areas of functions. Objectives. By the end of this lecture, you should be able to identify areas of functions of caseworkers and state their functions in the society. 1. Identify main types of social caseworkers. 2. State the functions of different types of social caseworkers. Like in every profession that is highly specialized, the social worker profession is not an exemption in this regard. Social casework, as the pivot of social work practice, has different areas of specialty. The 5 main types of social caseworkers according to current usage will be examined in this lecture. The 5 main types of caseworkers are: A. Medical social workers. B. Family caseworkers. C. Probation officers. D. Psychiatric social workers. E. Child care officers. It must, however, be noted that names given to these categories of social caseworkers may vary from state to state and country to country. For instance, in Nigeria, family caseworkers, child care officers, and probation officers are simply called social welfare officers, a generic name given by government to all those in its employment at federal, state, and local government levels. A. Medical social workers. Medical social workers, or almonas as they were called until fairly recently, have their origins in the last decade of the 19th century when the first almona was appointed to the Royal Free Hospital. Her duties reflected the thinking of that time. Initially, they were to be concerned with the protection of hospital funds from abuse and subsequently with patients' materials and financial needs. The inference being that help should be given to those who really needed it. Over the years, as a result of a growing recognition that social and emotional factors were of great importance to physical and other types of illness, the medical social worker has become an important member of the medical team in all types of hospitals. The medication model views clients as patients. The medical social worker's first task is seen as making a diagnosis as to the causes of a patient's problems and then providing treatment. The patient's problems are viewed as being inside the patient. Again, medical social workers assess problems by viewing clients in their situations instead of focusing only on the clients. The basic functions of a medical social worker include: 1. To help patients understand and interpret technical jargon. 2. To offer emotional support. 3. To help terminally ill people deal with their feelings and make end-of-life plans. 4. To help patients adjust their lives and lifestyles to accommodate to new conditions. 5. To help parents of children with serious illnesses or disabilities cope with these conditions and respond to children's needs. 6. To serve as brokers who link patients with necessary supportive resources and services. 7. To help patients make financial arrangements to pay hospital bills. 8. To provide health education aimed at establishing a healthy lifestyle and preventing illness. B. Family caseworkers. Family casework has its origins in the Charity Organization Society, COS, established in 1869, to cater for the poor generally and children and the aged specifically. Family caseworkers are the most comprehensive and least specialized forms of social casework. Most family caseworkers are employed today by the governments in Nigeria and work in the ministries of women affairs and social welfare. Their functions majorly are among women and children on issues affecting their well-being, marital disputes, paternity rejection, paternity dispute, women and children trafficking, abandoned children, homeless, the aged, and so on. All these functions confirm why family caseworkers are the most comprehensive and why they are more of generalists than specialists. They also attend to both social and emotional problems of these segments of society. Women and children. They work among the youth and in the justice system with an emphasis on the welfare of those standing trial, the accused, and the convicted. C. Probation officers. The probation service received statutory recognition in 1907. By the middle 1920s, it was mandatory for probation officers to be appointed to all courts in Britain. And today, they are a well-established body of men and women who act as advisors to the courts on most social welfare matters. Probation officers supervise, advise, assist, and befriend men, women, and children over the age of criminal responsibility, arrested for all kinds of offenses, from the most serious to most trivial. Probation takes place when a person is convicted, but the judge determines that confinement is not warranted. Instead, that person is placed on probation and is allowed to live in society, but under the court's supervision. Probation officers conduct assessments prior to when clients begin probation in order to provide recommendations to the courts. D. Psychiatric social worker. Psychiatric social workers developed out of the growing concern about the problems of the adult mentally ill and of delinquent children. Psychiatric social workers work in the psychiatric hospitals, adult psychiatric units of general hospitals, in community care of the mentally ill, and in child guidance clinics. They also engage directly or in association with other stakeholders in psychosocial research. Psychiatric social workers are also called clinical social workers. Major functions of psychiatric social workers are: 1. Case management. They collaborate with other stakeholders in the care of mentally ill in the management. 2. They are involved in information dissemination and education programs about mental illness to the community. 3. They are involved in the long-term community care programs. 4. They are involved in the monitoring of daily treatment programs. 5. They work towards having adequate family and social support for the mentally ill. E. Child care officers. Child care in social work practice is an evolving branch of the practice. They work with mostly deprived and abused children. The abandoned, the orphaned, the motherless, the sexually abused, the physically abused, the mentally abused, all forms of child maltreatment. They also work in adoption and child welfare units, daycare, protective services, and criminal justice section with emphasis on child welfare. Study session summary. Different types of social caseworkers are in different areas of specialization, and their names depict their functions. The major types of caseworkers are medical social workers, family caseworkers, probation officers, psychiatric social workers, and child care officers. The medical social workers deal with the social and emotional factors that are of great importance in both the assessment and treatment of physical and psychological types of illness. Family caseworkers work in social welfare offices of federal, states, and local governments, ministries of women affairs and social welfare. They attend to social, economic, material, financial, emotional, or relationships problems. Probation officers act as advisors to the courts on most social welfare matters. Probation officers supervise, advise, assist, and befriend men, women, and children arrested for all kinds of offenses. Psychiatric social workers work with mentally ill adults and delinquent children. They are involved in the monitoring of day treatment programs and sufficiently involved in the long-term community care programs for the mentally ill. Furthermore, child care officers work with mostly deprived children, motherless children, and orphanages, and they enforce laws governing the well-being and care of the children. End of study session 11. Thank you for listening.